Let's be real, Luffy doesn't just fight, he disrespects his enemies with style. Whether it's laughing in the face of a warlord, walking into an emperor's territory like he owns the place, or one-shotting villains who thought they stood a chance, this guy has zero chill. And the best part, he doesn't even do it to show off, he's just built different. So sit back and let's relive the times Luffy flexed so hard that the whole One Piece world felt it. We're starting off this list with one of the most unapologetically Luffy moments in Wano. Let's talk about the time he absolutely destroyed Kaido's front. After Luffy and his gang approached Onigashima, they're welcomed by guards and they're not the friendly ones at all. They're all guarding the massive Torii gate and are ready to attack anyone who tries to trespass it. Now, sneaking past the guards isn't Luffy's style, so without a second thought, he launches himself off the ship and annihilates the entire gate with one monstrous red hawk. The guards perished and the massive gate was gone. Luffy flexed so hard that even his crew had to take a moment to realize what actually happened. Luffy was at his finest during this scene because he didn't even hesitate before jumping right into the heart of danger. This was one of the most pirated things Luffy had done, tearing through Kaido's front gate like it was made of paper, all for the sake of storming the island and grabbing some food and booze. Let's talk about the time Luffy flexed his observation haki so hard, Kaido's goons probably started questioning their career choices. So, the guards started attacking Luffy and his crew with a barrage of arrows. But Luffy, he didn't even flinch. With the smoothness of a guy who's mastered future sight, he casually weaved through the arrows like he was dodging raindrops. Every shot fired was a guaranteed miss like they were in slow motion while he was playing fast forward. The guards were losing their minds, but Luffy, he was just vibing, proving that his observation haki was on a whole other level. Imagine thinking you've got the upper hand, only to realize the guy in front of you already sees everything before it even happens. At this moment, Luffy flexed on an entirely different level, a preview of the monster he was about to become. Luffy versus Caesar Clown was the kind of fight where Luffy disrespected his opponent while doing it. And honestly, Caesar had it coming. Caesar thought he was that guy. He was a mad scientist with a gas-based Logia devil fruit, the Gas no Mi, which let him manipulate and become gas itself. Right from the start, Caesar tried his usual tricks: poison gas, suffocation techniques, and floating around like an untouchable menace. But Luffy, he walked straight through it. Poison didn't work, his illusions didn't work, and most importantly, his arrogance didn't work either. And the ultimate flex, Luffy defeated Caesar without even using Gear 4th. Not Bound Man, not Tank Man, and definitely not Snake Man. Let that sink in, okay? Luffy didn't even think Caesar was good enough to warrant his strongest form. He handled him with nothing but pure haki, raw power, and overwhelming confidence. And the music, that epic OST swelling up right before the final punch, that's the sound of Caesar realizing that he should never mess with Luffy. Imagine you're Enel, the self-proclaimed god of Skypiea. You've got the Goro Goro no Mi, a Logia-type devil fruit that lets you become literal lightning. You're the kind of entity that's extremely fast, deadly, and almost invincible. Nobody would dare stand against you because, well, who would like to get fried by lightning, right? But wait, the one who doesn't give a shit about any of that? Now everybody who knows anything about physics, electricity, and rubber was waiting for this moment, and it didn't disappoint at all, did it? At first, Enel doesn't even take him seriously, just another fool about to get cooked. So he does what he always does, zaps him with enough voltage to power an entire city, and then nothing. Luffy just stands there completely unfazed. Now at this point, you can see Enel's brain start to break. Luffy is literally immune to Enel's entire arsenal. And that's when we get one of the funniest, most meme-worthy moments in One Piece history. Enel's face. That iconic, wide-eyed, jaw-dropped look of absolute existential horror. It's not easy leveling someone's empire, but for Luffy, it definitely is. You see, Arlong treated humans like dirt, tormented Nami for years, and believed his strength made him untouchable. But the second Luffy stepped in, that illusion started crumbling. Luffy wasn't scared of this so-called superior fishman. He tanked Arlong's attacks like they were nothing and treated Arlong's crew like low-level minions, knocking them aside without even breaking a sweat. He didn't care about Arlong's physical strength or his razor-sharp teeth. Luffy had one thing on his mind: justice for Nami. And just when you think things couldn't get worse, Luffy does something insane. See, Arlong thinks he's got the upper hand because they're fighting inside his HQ, Arlong Park. To him, this building is a symbol of dominance. To Luffy, it's just another obstacle in his way. So what does he do? He destroys the entire building. He also erases Arlong's entire legacy in one epic moment. This was that moment when we all knew that Monkey D. Luffy was wild. Moving on, we have Joffrey getting absolutely wrecked by Luffy. Joffrey thought he was untouchable. A warlord, ruler of Dressrosa, a celestial dragon by blood, and the ultimate puppet master. He'd been pulling the strings literally for years, treating people like playthings while sitting on his throne like some untouchable king. But Luffy didn't care at all. The man who saw himself as untouchable got one shot out of the sky in front of the entire kingdom. And the best part? The moment of pure disbelief on Doflamingo's face, that split second of, wait, I lost? Before he crashed through the streets of Dressrosa, completely erased from his own kingdom. Now that's a flex. The people he oppressed for years watched their so-called king get absolutely deleted in real time. Luffy always humbles those who think they're invincible. And Doflamingo, he learned that lesson the hard way. The king of disrespect is back with another disrespect, and this time it's Blackbeard's turn. The dude loves to talk, and the moment Luffy punched him, absolute gold. Blackbeard wasn't ready for that kind of humiliation at all. One of the best things about Luffy is that whenever the audience is thinking, man, I really hope someone punches this guy, Luffy's already throwing hands before the thought even finishes. Same with that classic running gag. Only a complete idiot would reveal their location right now. And then there's Luffy, instantly yelling, hey, I'm over here. But honestly, Luffy punches Blackbeard as a top tier flex for so many reasons. First off, Blackbeard is one of the most hyped up villains in One Piece, a guy who's been plotting in the shadows, manipulating events, and taking down some of the strongest figures in the world. He's the definition of a schemer, always talking big about fate and power, and yet Luffy didn't care about any of that. Blackbeard must have felt that punch so damn hard. Senchu. Now, Luffy saving Zoro from Kaido's Thunder Bagua was a next level flex. This was the kind of moment when we actually wondered if this dude sees Kaido as a real threat. I mean, Luffy's all about getting hurt while fighting, but when you hurt his friends, start counting your days. I've always loved Luffy for his dedication and love for his crew. He'd risk his life and well-being for them. He treats them all like family. In return, he has their respect and loyalty tenfold. So when Kaido decides to Thunder Bagua Zoro, Luffy doesn't hesitate and jumps right in front of Kaido, protecting his friend. It's such a great flex because Luffy wasn't afraid to turn into a sticker. He stopped the attack and didn't even care if it would finish him. Now that's the kind of friend I'd like to have in my life. After everything Zoro has done to support and protect Luffy since the very beginning, he really deserves this kind of treatment from Luffy. The bromance between the two is real. Luffy beating NL into oblivion has to be one of the most satisfying moments in the entire series. NL's second mistake was thinking he could defeat Luffy. His first, thinking he was untouchable. You know what Luffy does to those who think they're untouchable? Yeah, you guessed that right. Luffy beats and humiliates them in the worst possible way. But wait, NL wasn't just another guy. Also, there's this proof of NL being a dumb fighter. He literally made himself a giant electric monster, yet he knows Luffy is rubber and is holding gold. Also, it's always fun to see the look of utter shock and agony on NL's face whenever Luffy does something unpredictable. In NL's case, for him, it was getting defeated by Luffy. Every moment Luffy ignored his lightning, every second NL's godhood crumbled around him. And especially that final realization he was the one getting sent flying. That's when it all hit him. The so-called god of Skypiea was utterly wrecked. How about the time Luffy absolutely folded Hajirudin like a lawn chair in the Corridor Coliseum? I like how Luffy used armament haki here, you know. It's a giant and not just any, it's Hajirudin. It makes sense not to underestimate a giant and give them a real good whack. I mean, they're no average fodder, are they? Everybody thought size mattered. Everybody thought Luffy, some random little dude in a helmet, was about to get destroyed. But instead, Hajirudin was the one getting a first-class ticket to Dreamland. It was at this moment that Hajirudin started respecting Luffy. He realized firsthand that Luffy wasn't just some small fry, he was the real deal. And that's exactly why Hajirudin would later pledge allegiance to him, becoming one of the first members of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Because in the world of One Piece, it never mattered how big you were. If you stood in Luffy's way, you were getting wrecked. Loving the epic flexes from our goofy pirate? Then don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you never miss an update whenever I upload a new video.